Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Mystic Rose and today we're going to be walking through the tarot. There are 78 tarot cards altogether. They're divided into the major and the minor arcana. The major arcana are comprised of 22 cards and the rest of the cards are the minor arcana, which include the Pentacles, the Swords, the Wands, and the Cups. And each of these represent different zodiac signs. So it's very interesting and we're going to get all into it in just a few moments here. But I wanted to tell you that you can revisit this video at any time because it's going to be divided into chapters according to the different subdivisions within tarot, like suits and the minor and major arcana. So yeah. If you enjoy this video as we're going along, do be sure to like it, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel because I would really love to have you be part of my YouTube family. I have a lot of great videos. Mainly what I do is pick a card videos where I'll have different piles, 3 or 4 different piles of tarot cards, and there'll be different gemstones, and you kind of pick which one resonates with you or which one you're drawn to, and it contains messages for you. And I really am having a lot of fun with the tarot pick a card readings. But I also have in my library things like how to protect yourself, and I have guided meditations and all kinds of stuff. Just feel free to check that out if you're interested. And yeah, so why don't we get started on walking through the tarot one step at a time with the very first card in the tarot, which is the Fool. So as we go along, you might be curious about this deck here that I'm using. I'm using the Rider-Waite, which is pretty standard, but then I'm also using my Unity deck, which I created using my very own digital art. And if you're interested at any point in purchasing a deck for yourself, the link for that will be in the description box below. But yeah, so I just wanted to kind of, put both of these decks out there to, in a way, just kind of show you this Unity deck and how really neat it is, because what's exceptionally neat about it is that it's great for people who are just beginning to read tarot cards, because it does have in the corners, it has different cheat sheet notes for you so that you can see all the different meanings. And then what I also like about my Unity deck is that in the lower right hand corner here, we've got yes, no, or maybe, so they're great for divination. So I just wanted to put that out there. But okay, let's get started with the meaning of the Fool. So the Fool is the meaning of the Fool is it signifies a fresh new start or a new beginning of something. It could also represent your freedom and openness and trust and taking risks. So he's shown standing on the edge of a cliff here, and he's got a bag over his shoulder, and he's got a rose in his hand, and he's got a dog at his heels. In tarot, it's important to notice all of the little details because each card tells a story. And for this one, because it shows a dog here, it can really denote that you have this carefree spirit and you have friends by your side, faithful friends by your side. The Fool is very courageous because they're willing to take a risk. And sometimes taking the first step is the hardest part of any journey. So the Fool is representative of that kind of courage for discovering your truest potential. And so it can be that you are carefree, you're happy and moving. It can be for new beginnings. And if you were to get this card in a reading, it would be a yes. Okay, so that is the Fool. Let's move on now to the Devil. So the Devil, if you were to get the Devil card in a business reading, it could mean good business success. Also, it could stand for escapism or alcoholism or drugs, or a sexual relationship that is just based on physicality. It could just mean like a union with somebody else that is very toxic. So, you know, it has the Devil here, so it's indicative oftentimes of like negativity. And yeah, but it doesn't necessarily have to mean unhealthy attachments to people, but it can mean that it's one of those things in tarot. You have to look at the surrounding cards to see what the meaning would be, to see if you would like read it in a positive light or in more of a negative light. But it can stand for lust and greed, because these two people are chained together here. They've got chains around their necks and they're chained together. So you know that it's like not really that healthy if they're chained together like that. It's like they're bound, karmically bound together. So it can signify like a karmic relationship in which it's sort of negative and you're both teaching each other lessons. It can be for secrets and the shadow aspect of ourselves. And you know, a lot of times people might see this and they might get scared or whatever, especially if like they come from a Christian background, because it has the Devil, you know, and they might think that it's evil, but it's not really. It's just like it's a symbol of the shadow side of like our very basic instinctual side. And so yeah, don't be afraid of this when you get it, but it is a card that doesn't always have the most optimal meaning or positive meaning, unless it's in a business sense with positive cards around it. Also, if it has negative cards around it in a business reading, it could be negative because it could mean be careful of the business contracts that you're signing, okay? But if it has positive cards around it in a business reading, it could mean personal gain and success in your career. So just kind of, you know, be aware of what's surrounding it. All right, so that is the Devil. Let's see what's next. We've got the Magician. All right, so with the Magician, he's got a staff in his hand. And the Magician is very powerful. He's a manifester. So when this card comes up in a reading, it means that you have the potential to create and to make things happen. Yeah, so like it's almost like magically things happen. You can make things happen with your intentions and your action combined. So he stands next to a table, and he's got all of the elements that he needs here. He's got, on the table, he's got the sword, a wand, a cup, and a pentacle. So he's got all tools at his disposal that he can use. And it's about using your willpower and your inner manifestation to bring about and to command your will, okay? He's got an infinity symbol above his head, and it represents the immortal force of energy that we all have, or our chi or our prana that we all have. And it's very powerful when we harness the power of the chi so that we can actually manifest things. So this is all about like getting in tune with your own authority, and you have the power to create and to overcome obstacles and things like that. And in my deck, I have some cheat sheet notes that say it's for manifesting. It's also for beginning something. It's for making things happen. And if you were to get that in a reading, it would be a yes. And now we're moving on to the Magician. I'm sorry, not the Magician. We are moving on to the Empress. Forgive me. Okay, the Empress is all about abundance. See how she's pregnant here with child in both pictures? It's about giving birth to new ideas or new creative projects. She's here, sitting here on her throne, and she's just radiating this beauty within her that really comes with her nature loving self. She's got the trees in the background, and this one here has the flowers in the background. It's all about fertility. And so fertility and abundance. It's about pleasure as well, and just being content. It can be like about renewal. It can have like a real renewal energy kind of feel to it as well. So she's almost like symbolized here as Mother Earth, changing with the seasons, being open, flowing, and in harmony, and bearing fruit. So if you get this in a reading, it most likely means that a situation is full of promise and has great potential to turn out in your favor as you wish. It's really a good omen also to get this in a reading where you want to desire a positive relationship. So if you were to get this in a relationship spread, it means that you have the power to manifest a good relationship. And if you are trying to get pregnant and you get this card, it could indicate a pregnancy is either on the way, or a pregnancy is actually happening at the moment. So what is next is the Emperor. The Emperor sits upon his throne, and he can often represent a boss at work or somebody that takes charge. They're not necessarily like the most warm and fuzzy person. They can be a little bit judgmental at times. It's all about making a decision and taking action and responsibility. It can be about like being satisfied because of your achievements. It can represent a fatherly type of energy. And it's basically, when you draw this card, it could just represent somebody in the position of authority that you may know, or it could be representative of you yourself if it's in that position where it kind of, you know, symbolizes you. And it would just mean that you are taking on authority, and you have a very serious nature. He's a real leadership type of person too. So, yeah. And often the phrase that kind of comes with this card is deal with it. Because yeah, they're not, like I said at the beginning, they're not the most warm, you know, people in the world, these emperor types. They don't have the warm fuzzies, but they're very good leaders. All right, now we're moving on to the Hanged Man. So when you get the Hanged Man in a reading, the Hanged Man stands for stagnancy, or things are on hold. See how he's upside down in this tree here? He's actually just hanging there and nothing's happening. And so when you get this, it just means that you're waiting and you're kind of in a state of surrender or patience. And it's important to have patience during this time when you get this card. It can also be that, you know, you can benefit from taking a different perspective on a problem. So just keep that in mind as well. But if you get this, it mainly means things are on hold. It can also mean that you're in a situation, but you placed yourself in that situation. So you're sort of a little bit at fault for this situation as well, because yeah, you placed yourself into that situation. And if you were to get this in a reading, it would mean a no, or not now. Okay? All right, let's move on to the Wheel of Fortune. if you get this Wheel of Fortune in a reading, it can be very indicative of good luck. And it's also, it has to do with karma. And what comes around goes around, and whatever you've been putting out, you're going to receive back. So it's important, it tells us to act with rightness so that we can receive from the universe good and positive things. But yeah, it's all about like good luck. As long as you're putting out good things, you're going to get that back. It's about fortune, it's about destiny, it's about change, success, and sometimes it's about new direction. So yeah, it could be a turn of good luck for the better, and a new phase starting in your life. But yeah, if you haven't been acting very good, you know what I mean, as a person, it could mean that you're getting bad things back. But I would say for most of the time and most people, it's about good luck and things really turning around in your favor. So it's a good card to get. Next, we're going to go into the Strength card. This is all about being strong. How do you show your strength, power, and your courage? And it's all about your confidence too, and control, and how well you're balancing things. And it can also represent your integrity, your courage, and your generosity and compassion as well. There's a woman here that is holding open the jaws of a lion, and she doesn't have any fear of danger. So that's why this is representative of our courage, our inner courage. Because obviously she's taming a wild beast here. And you can tame your fears and overcome things with this Strength card. And if you were to get this in a reading, it would be a yes card. Okay? A yes for sure. All right, let's move on to the next one. Judgment. Okay. So with Judgment, I find this to be interesting because it can mean a few different things, but the Judgment is all about like if people have wronged you in any way, they're gonna get their justice, basically, like whatever, their karma is gonna come back upon them. Or it could be a reward if you're doing good things, kind of like the other card that we just had. But yeah, it could mean that you're rewarded for a past effort, or it could be like people that have made bad choices are gonna get like their justice for that. Okay. It can be all about resolution to problems or taking responsibility, like doing your part. And it can also mean healing broken parts of yourself, because we've got people coming up out of coffins here and reaching to the sky and reaching to the angel here in the sky. So it can mean just rising up out of a difficult situation to communicate with the angels and to heal yourself. So it can be a card of healing and transformation too, and new changes and renewal. And maybe you're being judged too harshly when this card comes up. But if you get this in a reading, it stands for a yes. So, all right, let's move on. The Hierophant. Whenever this Hierophant comes up in a reading, it tells me that the person, the querent, is sometimes struggling with like religious aspects. So maybe they're torn. They like religion and spirituality, but they're leaning more towards either religion or tradition. So, or they could just be inner battling this within themselves about, spirituality versus traditional religion. It can stand for somebody also who's in the spotlight, because it's got the Pope here, and the Pope is somebody who's in the public eye. So if you get this, it could mean that you're in the public eye, or that people are either trying to spy on you, or that people are watching you. But yeah, the Hierophant usually kind of represents the trappings of the traditions of religion practice. So, and it also kind of encourages you to make meaning out of life and to seek answers about the purpose of life. All right. And with my Unity deck here, it says traditional religion, unlocking your full potential, because it has, he's got a key around his neck. So it's about unlocking your fullest potential. It could symbolize a teacher of divine wisdom. And if you get this in a reading, it's a maybe. All right. All right, let's move on to the Tower. The Tower can stand for abrupt, chaotic changes. Things just suddenly happening, like an ending of a relationship or a divorce of some sort. Maybe getting fired from a job. It could mean, like, in some instances, something like kind of perceivingly bad might happen. But oftentimes when bad things happen, it's actually for a good reason, or it just means that we need to change directions. So the Tower is really nothing to be too afraid of. But yeah, it can symbolize some kind of conflict or overthrow, some kind of disruption in the flow of our everyday lives. And it is sudden and unexpected. So this tall building has been struck by lightning here, and it's got flames, and the people are jumping out of the top of the, they're jumping out of the windows and everything. So it suggests that, you know, these are hard times and that things are not really going according to your original plans. And so I guess it stands for, like, you shouldn't try to hold on and save the toppling tower. It's better to kind of wait and let things settle. It may be indicative of facing a certain kind of uncertainty. And it kind of can ask you to, like, reevaluate your current path and see if things are really as they should be. And sometimes a complete change might be just the best thing for us, you know. So change isn't always bad. And so on my Unity deck here, it says abrupt change, chaos, unexpected chaos, ending or pain. And if you get this in a reading, it's a no. Now we're moving on to the Chariot, which is all about action forward. I kind of did like a modern version of the Chariot with the Corvette here. But yeah, I have like forward moving action, drive and victory, success, and it's yes if you get it in a reading. But so with the the Hanged Man, it was all about things are stagnant and not moving, but with the Chariot, things are really moving forward. And you know, you're also moving forward very balanced because you got the white and the black Sphinx animals. And it's all about, like, you know, not letting one thing pull you in one direction or the other, just like being very balanced. And so action forward, things are really moving along. It can be indicative of your success, because it can mean, like, if you're waiting to hear back from a job or something and you get that, it's like, okay, things are moving forward. It can be indicative of stability. So control as well, like controlling the two different, like I said, the two different animals there. So it can, like, you know, kind of be representative of your willpower and control. And it can be all about, like, control over conflicting forces. or pulling in opposite directions. All right, let's move on to the next card. We've got Justice, which is all about fairness. Justice is learning your life lessons. It can be representative of legal battles. And it can be about karmic retribution. And it's definitely about fairness and balance and truth. And so it's this person here sitting between two pillars, and it can suggest like a sort of like a religious connection. But the figure in the card holds a sword and has it pointing upwards, indicating that justice in the end is going to be upheld. And so if you were to get this in a reading and you were kind of wondering about the outcome of a court case, this would be very good. This would be a positive card saying that you were going to win the court case. But if it doesn't have anything to do with a court case or anything legal, then it could just be about fairness, okay? And it just reminds us that we're accountable for our actions, and just to be honest and to live in an honest and a fair way, and that justice is going to prevail. All right, now we're moving on to one of my favorite cards in the deck. It's called the Sun, and the Sun is all about abundance. Everything is great. You can just relax. It's about abundance and happiness, and if you get that in a reading, it's a yes. Now notice the little boy, the baby on the horse. It can be a symbol that you might be having a baby, and it could even be like for a baby boy, or it just like stands for the inner child. But there's this inner happiness and this sense of like fulfillment that comes with the sun and the warmth of the sun. And so basically, if it appears in a spread, it means that you could have good health, overall happiness, and like I said, maybe a birth of a baby. All right, let's move on to the next one, which is the Hermit. The Hermit is all about going within. He's taking a break from the world to go inside and seek answers. So this card here says, go within for your answers. Take the time to be alone. Trust in yourself and invest in yourself. And if you get this in a reading, it's a yes. But yeah, it's all about, you know, taking that time to go within and ask yourself. Don't ask others for answers. Go within because we have a lot of wisdom inside of us. So yeah, it's about solitude, being alone. It means you just want to kind of withdraw from the world for a while or detach. And the lamp stands for inner illumination. So that's basically what that card is all about. The World is a wonderful card. It's all about completion of a cycle. It can be indicative of success too and good outcomes. And it's definitely a yes if you were to get that in a reading. So yeah, it's about the end of cycles and the beginning of new cycles. And it can be about fulfillment and achievement. And it can also be, one of my favorite interpretations of this card is a final reward for all of your hard work. You're going to be rewarded. All right. The next one is the Death card, which a lot of people, when they get this, they think, oh no, somebody's going to die or I'm going to die. It's not like that. I mean, I guess technically it could be, but it's usually not. Normally, you know, this just means that change is up ahead for you and that you're transforming. And there's an ending to the old energies surrounding you. That maybe you're stepping into more of the person that you want to be, or that something is ending and taking a new direction. It can mean a loss of something or mourning something. But there's like this kind of overall renewing energy about this card. The skeleton on the horse symbolizes death, but also suggests that the old is ending and that the new is going to come about. So it's all about accepting difficult and painful cycles and learning to accept them and see the lessons in things. Okay? So that's what the Death card is all about. The High Priestess it stands for following your intuition. It's all about secret knowledge and wisdom. And if you were to get that in a reading, it would mean yes. And the High Priestess is somebody who uses her inner intuition. She listens to herself. She has a knowledge about the esoteric and things that other people don't have a lot of knowledge about. She likes the metaphysical things, everything hidden and unknown. The High Priestess just encourages you to follow your heart and your intuition when you get this, to listen to your intuition and inner wisdom. And it can mean that some, unseen influences might be at work in a situation. And it's just all about mystery. So when she appears in a spread, it could be an indication that maybe some hidden forces are at work within a situation, and to look within for an answer and to trust your own self, and before you go and seek advice from other people. So like follow your own intuition. That's what that's all about. Okay. Next, we're moving on to the Lovers, which is wonderful in a love spread because it's all about attraction or a crush. It's like a mutual crush. Somebody likes you and you like them. It's about loving what you're doing. If it's in a work spread, it means that you are in alignment with your work and you're enjoying your work. It can also mean that you're aligned with other people in a positive way, and that you're also very connected to God. It also is yes in a relationship if you get this, because it is such a positive card. And yeah, it's all about like spirituality as well, and being very connected to God and others. The Lovers is basically a very good card in a love reading or work or whatever. It's not a negative card at all. And it's something that a lot of people like to get in a reading because it can confirm like an attraction to somebody, or it can affirm that somebody likes you physically, and also likes you as a person. Because it has two people here, it can mean that maybe there's a choice that you need to make. But yeah, it's basically what it is. Okay, so let's move on. We're moving on to the Star card, which I like too, because it's all about a wish coming true. It's all about hope and renewal and spiritual connection. And the person in this picture here in this card is, she's got 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on the earth. She's very balanced. And her cup is filled with water, and the stars are indicative of wishing and making a wish. So wishes coming true. So if you see that star card and you think of it, think of wishing on a star, okay? And that's going to help you to remember that the star card means that a wish will come true for you. It can also mean have hope, have faith, and it's a promise of something. It can also stand for healing and that you are very protected. All right, let's move on to the next one. The next one is The moon. The moon can stand for the fact that somebody might be keeping secrets from you. It can also be symbolic of the scorpionic energy, the Scorpios. People born in late October or November. It can be about hidden aspects that are unknown to us. It can stand for our dreams and our imagination and our intuition and our unconscious fears. It can mean confusion when you get this, or like disillusionment, or sometimes deception, like somebody could be, you know, keeping something from you, you know, like keeping secrets from you. Things are not what they seem when you get that. It can be a negative card. Pay attention to your inner knowing, dreams, and intuition. And if you get that in a spread, it's a no. All right, now we're moving on to Temperance, and this is the last card in the Major Arcana. So we've got Temperance here, which is all about balance of the body, mind, and spirit. And Temperance, this angel has 1 foot on the earth and 1 foot in the water, so she's, you know, she or he is very balanced, taking the water from one cup and pouring it into the other. She's just very, very balanced, and she's got a lot of harmony in her life. So if you get this, it's all about harmony, or being adaptable to things, you know, like having a resiliency to bounce back. And it can indicate that good relationships are possible. It means that like you're getting along with others well, you're in flow and in harmony. So it can mean that you're in a state of peace, flow, and harmony. And if you get this in a relation or in a reading, it's a yes. All right, so that is it for the Major Arcana. And then we're going to be going through the suits next, which are the Minor Arcana. And we will begin with the Cups. So we'll start with the Ace of Cups. And each of the suits go through, they go Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then it goes to the Page, the court cards, which are the Page, Knight, King, and Queen. Okay? All right. So the Ace of Cups is the first card, and it's all about like an offer or a blessing from the universe, which is why it's offered by the hand that's extending out there and the cup is overflowing. It's either like a new job offer or a job or an offer in love. Somebody might be expressing to you their emotions. It's very indicative of joy and love and happiness. And with this cup overflowing, it's just a wonderful, deeply satisfying card to get. And it's just for like new hope in the future. And yeah, it's a really positive card. Yeah, it could be a love offer from somebody or a new relationship. So that is the Ace of Cups. Next, we've got the Two of Cups, which is all about lovers coming together. There's a crush. There's some people that are kind of, you know, they're facing each other. They're in love. It can signify a new budding relationship or romance. It can be, you know, physical attraction and satisfaction and emotional fulfillment. But yeah, oftentimes it's about like a marriage union, or it could be even a creative endeavor. And if you were to get this in like a business reading or something, it could mean like stable finances and good relationships with colleagues. And if you get this in a reading, it's a yes. Next, we're moving on to the Three of Cups, which is the party card. It's all about celebrations with friends. It could mean that you might reunite with old friends as well. It's about pleasure, joy, merriment, abundance, and fortune. All right, next we've got Four of Cups, which stands for apathy or not caring. You get this, what you get is an offer from the universe, but if you see here, he just doesn't care about it. He's got his arms crossed. He's like, yeah, I don't care. So it's this blessing that's being offered to you from the universe, and you're just focused on these things that you want, and you don't see, you kind of don't want to look at what's being offered to you. So it's about like, it's like the I don't care card. You're bored. It can often mean like you're very bored. And if you get this in a reading, it means maybe. The Five of Cups is all about the inability to turn around and see what good things are happening in your life. You're only able to look at the focus on the spilt cups here. And it's a feeling of being stuck and just needing to turn around and see the good. So like when you see this in a reading, it could mean that you need to start being grateful for what you do have and try to focus on things that are going right. Because if you're stuck, you might be concentrating on bitter memories of the past and things like that. And if you get this in a card, in a spread, it's a no. Okay? Now, the Six of Cups is a positive one because it's all about soulmate connections here. These are two childhood friends that are just enjoying each other here with the flowers, and the cups just are abundant with here with the new growth of the flowers. And so this is about soulmate friendship connections with people that you can just be silly with. You can be yourself. You can, your inner child can flow freely, and you can just be yourself. And so if you get this in a reading, it's a yes. Okay. This card here is about having a lot of options in life. So if you get this in like a business type of sense, you could have a different, like lot of different projects going on, or the need to choose one thing and settle with it. In romance, it could be that you have a lot of options out there, but you need to pick one. You have a lot of choices. Please narrow it down, make a choice. And if you get this in a reading, it could be a maybe for an answer. All right. And then we've got here the Eight of Cups, which this person is clearly walking away. They're the person that takes care of themselves in a situation that they don't want to be in. Or it can be indicative of some kind of escape, like escaping through, you know, whatever form of escape people do. Like maybe sometimes they're binge watching TV shows, or indulging in too much alcohol or drugs or whatever. So it can be like, it can signify escape, or just letting go of the past and just walking away. And if you get this in a reading, it's a no. The Nine of Cups is a really great card. It means great news coming in, wishes coming true, and it's a happy card. This is the keeper of a hotel here, and he's got a smile on his face because all of his cups are full, and he's just very abundant. So if you get this card in a reading, it's like, yeah, things are really going well for you, okay? And you're very satisfied. That's why he's got that smile on his face. He's very satisfied. The Ten of Cups is very favorable because it's all about yes, and good things are coming to you, and there's celebrations and things are stable. You've got the kids playing here, and the mom and the dad here that are holding each other and celebrating, so it can indicate a happy home and family life. It's just a good card. So that is the Ten of Cups, and then we move into the court cards. So sometimes court cards can represent actual people that you know, and the cups are all about representing the water signs, which is Scorpio, Pisces, and Cancer, either sun, moon, or ascendant. So Basically, these people are very, very intuitive. They can be very romantic. They can be very artistic. The page is for like somebody that's very young, and they could be offering you a love offer here, or it could also be signify a blessing coming into you, or just like somebody who's a very flirtatious male water sign or acts like it. And if you get that in a reading, it's a yes. The Knight of Cups is somebody a little bit older than the page, but he's still quite young. He's very romantic, very in touch with his emotions. He can have a tendency to wear rose-tinted glasses and be a little bit unrealistic, but he's very in touch with his emotional side. And they can be very psychic as well. The Cups energies, very intuitive. And this is a yes if you get this in a reading. The King of Cups is an older gentleman usually. That's a water sign. They're very loving and intuitive. They're a great healer and a great, just somebody who helps you in so many ways. And they're ready. He's got 1 foot forward and 1 foot back, but like he's ready to stand up and help you. So they're very helpful. And then we've got the Queen of Cups. She's a water sign female, so Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancer female, who's extremely sexy. Oftentimes here very curvy and just, if not just something very attractive about them. They can be younger, but often with the Queen, it's an older water sign that's very caring, nurturing, and gives you the tools to help you to solve your problems. And if you were to get this in a reading, it would be a yes. But yeah, she's very in touch with her intuition and her emotions because she's surrounded by water, and the water has depth, and the Cups, females and males both, they have depth. They can go deep within a conversation. They can also have transformative and healing energies about them. All right. Now we're going to be moving on to the Wands. So Wands they represent the fire signs, which are Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries. And they're all about, like, you know, energy and passion. And when you get an Ace of Wands, it's like an opportunity to start a new project oftentimes. But it can also be like indicative of a new creative job or a great idea that's come to you. And it means believe in yourself. And it's also a yes from the universe if you get that. The Two of Wands it means you're in the planning stages of something, that you're kind of thinking about your options. So you might be thinking about leaving your workplace, or thinking about, you know, looking over the horizons and seeing what's out there for you, but you're just in the planning phase. You're discontent. So you're just kind of like on the search for things, but you're not actively looking. You're just thinking about it. And if you get that in a reading, it's a maybe. But now with the Three, it means you are actually taking action on it. So like with the Two, you're just thinking about it. But with the Threes, you're actually acting on it. It's all about action, making things happen for you and changes up ahead, and that you're not stuck anymore. And if you get that in a reading, it is a yes. So the Four of Wands is all about stability and celebrations, and it can also indicate that a marriage is on the horizon. It can be a signifier of new hope, or just a reason to celebrate. And if you get this in a reading, it's definitely a yes. The Five of Wands can be indicative of fighting, inner conflict, or fighting with other people. It can also be that mean that there's competition within the workplace, or that if you're looking for a job, there might be other competitors that are competing with you for the same position. And it just could be like, it could stand for chaos and arguments. And if you get this in a reading, it's a no. And this one's pretty straightforward because, as you can see, they're quarreling with the wands. With the Six of Wands, this can signify somebody finally getting the recognition that they have worked hard for and that they deserve. It could mean that you're getting accolades, or people are just seeing you and praising you. Or it could sometimes mean congratulations on something. But once in a while, it just depends on the other cards that are surrounding it. It could mean that the person has a big ego. So it's just something to kind of look out for, and look at the other cards that are around it to see if they're positive or if they're negative. If they're more negative, then yeah, I would read that as the person has a big ego. Or they could even be like narcissistic. But like if the other surrounding cards are positive, then I would say that this person is finally going to get the praise that they deserve. If you get this in a reading, it's a yes. Now we're moving on to the Seven of Wands. I call this the spiritual ninja card. It's about being pretty defensive and warding off people who are haters. It's the haters back off card. It can mean that you're just very confident and that other people are really jealous of you. But if you get this in a reading, it is a yes. But you can see here that he's got a stick here, and he's fighting off all these other people who are trying to take a jab at him. So it's about being very defensive. Okay? All right, let's move on. The Eight of Wands is all about hearing news. So it could mean getting an email, getting a text, hearing back via the phone, all about a job perhaps, like news coming in, whatever it might be, hearing from old friends or hearing from somebody that you're longing to hear from. And so if you get this, it's a yes in a reading. And it means usually that the news is coming in pretty fast. You won't have to wait long and you'll hear from that person. The Nine of Wands is all about protecting what you've worked so hard to earn. So it can also be significant of like buying a house or like making a large purchase. You will defend what is yours, and it can also be it can also mean that it's an end of a long battle. It could also represent delays or cancellations. But if you get this in a reading, it's actually a yes. See how he's like got this wands here, and his look, the look on his face says back off, you know, because he's protecting what he's worked so hard for here. And the Ten of Wands means that you're coming to the end of a cycle. With the tens, it's always coming to an end of a cycle. And you've worked really, really hard, and it can often mean that like you might be taking on a little bit too much work, but like, you know, soon it's going to end because it is a 10, but like, you know, you might be feeling overworked, or like you can't say no, or like you just need to rest. And if you get this in a reading, it means no. The Page of Wands is somebody who's either a Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries, or acts that way. So the fire people, fire energy people, or Wands people, they are the Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries of the zodiac, or they just have a lot of passion for what they do. They're very energetic. They're the life of the party. They're very good with people. They're like, you know, real people's people. They're very good communicators and are great at networking. They have a great sense of humor and they have a lot of confidence. And this could also mean, when you get this in a reading, that you're ready to start a new project. But it could indicate a fire sign male or female. Even though it's a male, it could represent a female too. And if you get this in a reading, it's a yes. And in my deck, I did corgis because corgis have a lot of energy. And so that's why I kind of associated them with the Wands energy people, because Wands people have a lot of energy. All right. And then the Knight of Wands is somebody a little bit older, but they're still pretty young, like the Page, or they're just starting out on something, like just starting out on a project or starting a new job. This is somebody who's very excited and eager. They're ready to go. And if you get this in a reading, it's a yes. But yeah, this could be like something coming in a matter of weeks as well for Wands, because Wands are significant of weeks. So it means something coming in within weeks. Then you've got the King of Wands, who's an older, experienced male fire sign who's very passionate and ready to help. And he's a great leader because he's good with people and he has amazing people skills. He thinks of others. He's very considerate and very passionate about what he does. And if you get this in a reading, it's a yes. And then we have the Queen of Wands, who is an older female of this sign. So it's an older Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius female, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant. They can be a little bit impatient at times, but they're mainly like ready for action. But yeah, like they're so impatient because they want things done and they want things done now. And this is for in a reading, you would, if you get this, it's a yes. Okay. All right, now we're going to go into the swords. And we'll start with the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is either, it could be significant of a truth being revealed. Okay. It could also be a blessing or a gift bestowed upon you. Or like, if you're waiting to hear back from a job or whatever, this would be like, yeah, you're going to get the job. Okay. It could be a new insight or a new idea coming to you. Some kind of new inspiration. If you get this with negative cards around it, it could mean that someone's lying to you and you need to find out the truth. With the Two of Swords, twos are always indicative of having to make a decision. And she's got a blindfold on and she's got her arms crossed with these two swords and she's just having a really hard time making up her mind. And this just tells you to go within for your answer and really see what you want, and don't ask other people, just trust yourself with your decision that you need to make. And if you get this in a reading, it's indicative of a maybe. This one's not the most pleasant card in the world. This could actually mean that you have heart troubles with your physical heart, like a heart disease, or it could mean in a relationship spread that someone is cheating. Either the querent is cheating or the querent's loved one is cheating on them, or there's a third party involved. It could mean a death of somebody or lessons learned. It could mean learning lessons the hard way. It could also stand for divorce. And if you get this in a reading, it's a no. What's going to help you remember that it's for cheating or for heartbreak is the fact that there's 3 different swords. So you can think of it as like the person that's the querent, the person that they're in love with, and then the third party. Okay? All right. Next, we've got the Four of Swords, which tells you to take a time out, rest your mind, and be still. It's time to start feeling better because you've been feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Knights used to come back from a long battle and just take a rest on the top of like a coffin, just to sort of remember that, you know, remember their death, I guess you could say. Like, they used to lay down on coffins to kind of just remind themselves of their death, and it kind of helps them to put perspective on life. So to be grateful to have, you know, to be living. And so, you know, he's laying here by this sword, and there's 3 swords on the wall, and it's about like just laying your worries aside, okay, and just resting your mind. See how he's so at peace here? It's just about going within, meditating. When you get this in a spread, it could mean that you need to meditate more often. Okay? All right, and then we've got the 5 of Swords, which is not the best card in the world. It's about, you might have won a fight with somebody, but you don't feel very good about it. See how like these people have their backs turned away from him, and he's smiling, but honestly, like, it's more like a little smirk, and he's not feeling that great about it. He just won a fight, but he's like not feeling great about it. It could mean that there's competition around you, and it can also stand for failure, loss, and defeat. And if you get this in a reading, it means no. Now, the 6 of Swords is moving away from something that's a negative situation. So this is like a father, the mother, and the child, and the father's taking his family away from the pain. Swords are often like associated with pain, and so see all the pain here? They're moving away from it, but they've still got quite a lot of, you know, swords there, but they're trying to move away from it into the horizon. And so that's just like talking about overcoming pain and moving away from it. And it's just an end to a very long and painful cycle oftentimes, or triumph over pain. It can sometimes mean that you're actually taking a journey or traveling. And it's a yes if you get this in a reading. Now, the 7 of Swords isn't the best card in the world because usually it means that somebody's lying to you, betraying you, going behind your back, cheating you, swindling you. You were betrayed. You were either lied to, or you lied to yourself, or you are lying to yourself currently. And if you get this, it's a no in a reading. But do you see how he's like sneaking off with these swords, and he's like, haha, and he's looking back. He's being very sneaky and devious. This often means somebody's sneaking around behind your back, okay? So in a relationship reading, this is not a good one. And then we've got the 8 of Swords. This person is blindfolded, and they're tied up, but very loosely. They could actually untie themselves at any time if they wanted to, truly. But there's so many swords here, which are indicative of pain. So many painful things here that they just don't want to face. They don't want to look at it. That's why they're wearing the blindfold. They just can't see. They don't want to see the truth, okay? They don't want to face the truth. So these people are in denial. It's the card of denial. It's the card about getting rid of your fears. It's also about self-inflicted fear, and you may even feel stuck when you get this card. And so if you get this card in a reading, it's a big no. Next, we've got the 9 of Swords, which is really not the best card either, because it talks about pain and like something's keeping you up at night. You can't sleep. You got anxiety and fear. You might have gotten your feelings hurt, and this can also indicate that you might have had a miscarriage, either an idea that fell through or fell apart, or an actual physical pregnancy that ended. And if you get this in a reading, it's a no. But you see here, all of these swords here, which are, you know, painful things, are keeping this person up at night, and they're like holding their head, and they're like sitting up in their bed. So not Not a great card. All right. All right, next we got the Ten of Swords, which is probably one of the worst. I mean, other than the Three of Swords. But this one's like you're coming to the end, but it's like been a horrible, painful cycle for you. But the one good thing about this card is that you can't get any worse than what you are here. So it's very painful, but the only way to go is up. It's for despair. It can mean that you have hit rock bottom and that you need to rest. And if you get this in a reading, it's a no. But see how he's got all these swords jabbed through his back and even through his head? He's like defeated and feels like he's almost basically dead. It's like feeling the worst you can feel. It's just full of pain, okay? It's not the best card. All right, so then we've got the Page of Swords, which the Page of Swords, now we're talking about swords energies here, which is Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, because these are the air signs. And think about the sword cutting through the air. Now, swords energies cut through to the truth. They're very truthful. They sometimes are blunt. They tell the truth right to your face, even if you don't want to hear it. They're very analytical thinkers. They're extremely good communicators. They're witty. They're quick-witted. This is a younger male, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. And this person is very innovative, clever, but they can be emotionally blocked or cold-hearted a little bit. They may come across as being emotionally cold or distant. And these people do tend to gossip quite a bit. Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius do seem to enjoy gossip. And if you get this in a reading, it's actually a yes. And then we've got the Knight here, who's a little bit older, but still quite young. And it's a young air sign male usually. It can be female, but it usually indicates a male energy. He's willing to defend you, and he's extremely clever. And but he doesn't keep his promises very well. Okay, so the Knight of Swords does not keep his promises very well. But if you get this in a reading, it's a yes. And if you get this too, and it's about like you're looking for like a time frame, this means that something's coming in very fast within days, because swords are usually indicative of days. Okay, see how fast the horse is coming in? He's charging in. It could also mean like suddenly you're facing a truth, okay? Or suddenly somebody's coming in to tell you a true statement. Now we've got the King of Swords, who's an older Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or acts that way. They're very fair, but they can be too blunt sometimes. They're a good leader. They see the bigger picture of things. And like I said before, they have all of those air qualities about them, so they are excellent leaders, but they can be emotionally cold. All right, that's why I chose the winter scene here for the foxes, and I chose the foxes because foxes are very clever. Then we've got the Queen of Swords. The Queen is an older female, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, air sign female that is older, and she is they always say in the when you see this like online that she's cold-hearted and kind of like, you know, a bitch in many ways. But really, you know, I think she's misunderstood. She's just very honest and goal-oriented. And she likes to change things up. She gets bored easily. They are visionaries. They just have a certain way that they want things done, so they can be very particular. But when you get this in a reading, it's a yes, okay? All right, now let's move on to our last suit in the Minor Arcana, the Pentacles, which signify earth signs, which are Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo people, or people who are very good with their money. They may even be focused on money. or not only just making money, but they're good at managing money. So the Ace is like a new job offer coming in. It might even talk about, hey, it's time to write that book that you've been wanting to write, or do those crafts you've been wanting to do, or get to work on those projects that you want right away. And if you get this, it's definitely a yes. A Two of Pentacles talks about that you could need balance in your life and that you're maybe juggling things. And it can talk about having stress with money. And if you get this, it's a maybe. But see how like this person is balancing the two things. So it's definitely all about balance in your life. Now we've got the Three, which threes are about taking action. And in this case, this is about claiming what is yours and finding your value. This person is selling their wares. So it's about like, you know, having the confidence to sell yourself in a way, like to others. It's about having the confidence and collaborating with others, but like also you see how he's kind of like trying to sell to them. So it's about your confidence level and your value. So when you get this in a reading, it can talk about like find your value and work on your confidence. Claim what is yours, and it's a yes in a reading. Fours are all about keeping your feelings to yourself here with the Four of Pentacles. It can also represent a Capricorn energy person. But the four here, Four of Pentacles, is about hoarding all of your money or financial gain. So it could mean that, like, see how he's clenching the money real close to his chest there like that? And he's got two under his feet. He's like, I'm not letting this money go. You know, he's saving it and he's kind of hoarding it for himself. But it can just mean also keeping feelings and emotions to yourself and like being blocked off to the point where you're blocking others off and you're not letting people know how you're feeling. So you're keeping your emotions to yourself. And if you get this in a reading, it's a no. Now we've got the Five of Pentacles. Fives generally aren't, you know, the greatest to get. The Five here means that you're going to have probably bad luck or feel like you're left out in the cold with no help. But know that, see this church window and the money that's in there? It means that help is there, and help is there if you need it. So don't be afraid to ask for help. But this is kind of like, this is a feeling of being poor or like poverty mindset. It could mean financial loss and poverty, or just feeling left out. Like if this is a relationship reading, it could mean that like you're feeling really left out, not included. And if you get this in a reading, it's a no. See, in this card, she's about to slip on a banana, so a banana peel. All right. So yeah, it can mean bad luck. All right, and then the Six of Pentacles is a great card because it means that you're in a good position to give and to receive. So we've got the giver here and the receiver here. You're in a position to both give and receive. You're doing great financially. You're a fair person that gives and takes. You're supportive and you're supported. And if you get this in a reading, it means yes. He's also got the scales here and it's very balanced and fair. Now, if you get the Seven of Pentacles, it means that you are saving up your money here with these money. See how he's got this rake or whatever, or this hoe, and he's been saving up and doing hard work, and he's saving up his money. And it can be all about working hard. In this one, he's got the textbooks and he's climbing up the textbooks and he's studying hard so that he can make money. He's getting to the top. He's rising to the top in his field. It's talking about hard work pays off and reap your rewards for your hard work. So if you get this in a reading, it's a yes. The Eight of Pentacles suggests that it's time to work on yourself. It's not only indicative of self-work, but it's also indicative of entrepreneurship and also getting a new job or developing your skills. So it could mean developing your work skills, or, you know, becoming a better version of yourself, just one step at a time. Okay? And then we've got the Nine of Pentacles, which is all about affluence and abundance, success and achievement. It can indicate large purchases and living in the lap of luxury. And if you get this, it's a yes. But see how this person here is very carefree and just like, yeah, feeling great. And she's got all of this money around her. It's just about abundance and feeling great. Here's another wonderful card, the Ten of Pentacles. This is indicative of saving up your money for retirement. You will have enough. It's about inheritance. It can be about wealth and sharing your wealth with another person, bringing, you know, your finances together with somebody else and creating abundance. And if you get this in a reading, it's a yes. But you can see that this couple is here together with all of this money surrounding them under this archway. So it's about this coming together and getting money through either an inheritance or some kind of blessing, or through your hard work. But it's about reaping the rewards for your work, because you're going to be very blessed and abundant in the future. Now we're getting into the court cards, which we start with the Page, which is for new beginnings. It could signify somebody who's just starting out with some kind of a job, like an entrepreneur, or somebody who's just starting out in their field. So they don't have a lot of expertise yet, but it could be somebody who's extremely practical in nature, good with money, focused on money. They're a reliable person, or they could be literally an earth sign, Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus individual, sun, moon, or ascendant. But this person is very responsible. And in this case, if you were to just get this in like a reading, it could mean that you're getting like a blessing or a new job coming your way. Knight of Pentacles. Now, if this was a time reading, this would be like something coming in slowly with like months or years, because it's like the slowest of the knights coming in. Like, you know, with the other one, you remember the swords, this one, he's rushing in fast. You can see that with the motion of the horse, and the wind is blowing his hair. But with this one, things are kind of still, okay? There's like a stillness about it. So it's coming in, but it's coming in very slowly for you. But yeah, this is like a young earth sign male, slow moving. And sometimes this person, if this is indicative of a person, they work too hard. And see how he's kind of like frowning. He's just overworked. And I chose aliens for this, for my Unity deck for the suits of Pentacles, because they're each standing on the earth. So, and I like aliens a lot. So I thought, well, hey, you know, I thought it was cute. Let's take a look at the Queen, or the, let's see what's next. I got these mixed up here. The King of Pentacles, okay? The King is the older male person that's an earth sign, or they may just be good with their money or a great leader. They work hard. Sometimes they work a little too hard and they forget to have fun. So that is the King of Pentacles. Now the Queen is a female Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn person who is great with money. They could be very generous and giving with their money, or they could just offer you good advice about life. They are very grounded to the earth and they work very hard. And she's like a mother to all, and she's extremely generous. And so if you were to get this card in a reading, it would be yes. Thank you so much for being here with me today and for walking through the tarot with me. I hope that you learned some things. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give me a thumbs up and like this video and leave a comment too, because I always read those and I love to respond to you all. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That would be wonderful, because I'd love to have you be part of my YouTube family. And if you're a subscriber already, I want to say thank you so much. I really love you all, and I appreciate every one of you. And also, if you would like to donate to my channel, the information for that is in the description box below. It's never, you know, like expected, but I always appreciate it, and it means a lot to me. Also, what else? Be sure to check out my other videos in my library, and yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun for me. Have fun with tarot, and never stop learning about tarot, because each of the cards has many different meanings, and it's always good too if you can put your own meaning onto the cards. So like, meditate on each of the cards and make your own meaning and memorize them. And always be sure to like look at the surrounding cards too, because that's going to affect the meaning of the cards. Well, many blessings to you all, and thank you again so very much.